Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Oh, welcome back, everybody. This word comes up from time to time. I'm going to say it, and I want to know, honestly, think to yourself, is this you? Are you an overthinker? Situations come up, maybe you're making plans, whatever it might be. Do you just think about it? Like every scenario, what about this? What about that? We're going to talk about that, not letting your thoughts take control of you and really prevent you from moving your life forward. And she's somebody that helps many with this and other challenges. She's a holistic healer. She's got so many different modalities under her belt, and it's Kate's Holistic Healing. That's the name of her practice. Kate Blecher is back with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How about you, Steve?
Very well. Very well. It's funny. The more and more we talk, the more I learn that, you're connected to so much acupuncture, hypnotherapy, so many different Reiki, so many different modalities to help people out. So I'm going to say I don't think I'm, use the word think, I don't think I'm a overthinker, but I'm a planner. I plan things out. I'm not really a spontaneous person. If it's Tuesday, I'm already thinking about what I'm doing on the weekend. Why? Because I love the weekend. I want to maximize it. So I'm thinking about it. But I will say, if you went back 5 years and before, I'd say I was an overthinker. I definitely, would. And in that overthinking, that therein lies the what if.
Right.
And that's a big one, isn't it?
It really is. I was actually reading an article this morning on overthinking, and they said that every time you say to yourself, what if? Like, what if I have to give a presentation and I mess it up? Or what if I go to the store and forget half the ingredients? Instead, change it to we'll see. And if you just put that in, we'll see what happens after the presentation. It takes away that negativity. And I'm interested, when you think about the weekend coming up and making plans,
Yep.
Does that give you pleasure or does that give you anxiety?
Oh, pleasure.
Oh, okay.
100%. Oh, I've changed my life, excuse me, in my journey to just be connected to lots of people and just try to do, fun things. The biggest anxiety is deciding, if you want to call it anxiety, deciding what to do and who to do it with. That's really it. Like there'd be, one day I got like 4 things I could do. What do I want to do? And then I kind of try and sit there. I was like, what would be more fun? Let me look at this. Let me look at that. A good problem to have, but that's the way I like it. I want to maximize. I want to, make the most out of life. But definitely pleasure and comfort, knowing that, all right, subject to change. But, Friday night, probably going to do this. Saturday, I have to head into the city to meet with a client, so that's taken care of. Saturday night, might hang out with my friend and maybe some other people celebrating his birthday, but it's still kind of fluid. Sunday, I don't know. Haven't gotten there yet. Come up with something, but it's all good. And even during the week, I kind of think that's just me. I'm a planner, but I'm not overthinking it. I just like to have a schedule, schedule on it in. But I used to overthink, and man, I was the what if-er. Big time. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is important to have control over your thoughts, because the quality of your thoughts exactly reflects the quality of your life. And if you've got all these negative thoughts going in your head, it's very difficult to be positive. Mm-hmm. I know I once had a conversation with my sister, and she started screaming at me and saying very hateful things. And I just thought to myself, I'm an adult. Why is somebody screaming and yelling at me? This is not the way to converse. And I just kind of let it all blow past me. And I was just watching her mouth move. And because I didn't get angry and respond, she softened up, stopped yelling, even said, much nicer things.
Mm.
And I basically didn't respond to any of it. And, but boy, it's just, we can't let other people's opinions of us or what they say in criticism mean anything. I mean, if it goes against your own feelings of self-love, it's wrong.
I can't believe you said this because I'm dealing with it now, connected to somebody. Don't even need to get into the details, but it was a few weeks ago where plans were made and there was a slight change in plans. And I was trying to help them by telling them, don't come here. I'll meet you there. It's closer. And then it was an event. And my thinking was, if the event isn't good, or I'll go first because taking your time to get there, you're running behind. I'll go there first. And if it's not good, I'll text you and we'll go someplace else. They started yelling on the phone. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm trying to do something nice for you. Like I'm caring for your feelings and you're yelling about, whatever that, I'm going to the event without you. No, I'm not. I'm going to go there to check it out because it's going to take you some time to get there. I'm sitting here doing nothing, waiting, all good. It's 6 minutes away, 7 minutes away, but they yelled and I'm like, nobody's ever done that. Like, and I just like, okay, where it ended at that moment. I just said, goodbye. I wasn't going to have it. It just, I was very nice about it, but no, There's no reason. It's called communication.
Exactly. It's so funny that it happens these days, that people don't have a better control over what they say and how they say it.
Yeah.
It's really, but you have to know that these negative comments that other people say usually says a lot more about the other person than it does about you.
Totally. And we can't walk in their shoes, so we don't know what they're going through, but they could be having anxiety, frustration. There's so many different things that could be happening that could cause people to yell or do whatever they're going to do. But you're right. It's how do you let it roll off you when you're in I used to take things to heart. Now I'm like, you don't like me for the way I am. Have a wonderful day and God bless and good luck. I don't worry about it anymore, but I did. And that came from obviously the past. Growing up, I got bullied and lots of other, things like that. So your self-worth is lower. You have that feeling of I'm not good enough, which is like universal for all of us in some regards, as I understand it. But how do you let it roll off you? How do you get to the point where that's easy?
Well, you have to decide if what you're thinking about has any positive benefit for you. And then get up and do something physical. That's where Tai Chi comes in. Tai Chi is a wonderful practice. It's a martial art, but it also has a philosophy. And it's anybody can do it. It's your feet are grounded and you do gentle, slow movements. And if you have a good instructor, you get the philosophy that goes along with getting the chi to flow, getting your body in sync. And it's a very, very wonderful practice. I don't know if I mentioned this, but what I do is if I'm feeling bad or something, I put on music. I put on my exercise ring and I sing and dance for a half hour and get my exercise done. And it's so much fun. I mean, nobody's around seeing me, so I'm not embarrassed. And it's very good. I mentioned this to my yoga instructor and he mentioned it to his class. And then all these people started sending YouTube clips of them dancing around the house as they're cleaning and it, just really picked up.
That's exactly what I do when I clean. And it's a game changer. And I make it loud. Yeah, I don't care if anybody hears it. Don't judge. I listen to everything. I'm all over the place, but it does elevate you and it could take your mood from here to there. It's amazing how that works. When we overthink, is it because we're predetermined for anxiety? Like most people that overthink already have anxiety.
Right. Which is a shame. And it's because they're overthinking and they're letting their thoughts have a negative connotation. And it's just, it doesn't have any value to it. I mean, you really should just focus on keeping control and knowing what it is you're thinking about, and then asking yourself, is this doing me any good? And if it's not, you should really just change your thoughts.
Hmm.
Maybe come up with a mantra or something that you like.
Um,
Like mine is, she believed she could, and so she did.
so I don't know if I shared this with you, but it's in line with what we're saying. And I heard this only a few months ago, but it's three sentences. And essentially, I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am safe in this moment.
That's beautiful.
Because what do we want to be? Feel safe, comfort.
Mhm.
And when you have the thoughts and the emotions and you're swirling and you're overthinking and you got the what ifs going on there, you don't feel safe. You feel, let's face it, you feel kind of threatened at that moment.
Exactly. And we can get ourselves so worked up over things.
Yeah.
And especially if you're talking to someone else who's in a low vibrational state and they just accentuate all the negatives. It's very hard to have a pleasurable conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
I
And
try to
it's,
stay away from those people nowadays.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that complain a lot. And what they're doing is they're just putting their negative energy onto you. And if you absorb it, it's just going to drag you down. And it doesn't do them any good either. I mean, the most you can do is give them attention and ask if, you know, what they can do to feel better, and ask them questions. But you can't let it get you down. And you can't fall into the trap that they're in. And, they tell you some horrible stories and it brings you down. And then, I mean, it can be a vicious circle.
So
And so it's better to stay away from complainers.
and it's always been said that you're the sum of the five people that you spend the most time with. So if
Yeah.
you're with people that have challenges, anxiety, and I've seen it in action. So my mom, I never realized it until later in life that she had anxiety, and she was kind of overprotective. All good, but I realized that later in life, after she passed, that when I was single, I would attract women who had anxiety. So when you talk about vibration, and I
Wow.
was like, why me? Why are they showing up for me? And I'm talking substantial anxiety. And it's almost as if they showed up like I'm the therapist to help them through that, which,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a therapist anymore. I've already done that enough. Plus I'm not qualified, but I felt that's why, but I bring that up because we're a product of those around us. So maybe with vibration, and we've said before, what you put out, you get back. Maybe that was, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. So, these single women would show up and, the therapist is in session. No, I don't want to do that.
No, I mean, it's probably because you're so grounded that they were attracted to you because of their anxiety. You
Maybe,
were like a very stable.
but it wasn't, I hadn't done the work even at that point. And I get what you're saying, because I feel I'm fairly grounded now. But at that time, I wasn't so much. And they were still showing up. But I totally get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But what's interesting now? Now it's on my radar. Now, I find just with people in general, I'm more fine tuned into their vibration, what I'm dealing with, who they are, their values. I just never even used to look at that, but and I'm not like trying to, and I'm not judging anybody, but I feel like I'm plugged in. I tune the station in a little bit better, so to speak. So I want to ask you, Kate. You've revealed before that you've gone through quite a few medical challenges, and at one point, the number of different situations you were in. Quite honestly blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh. And you're still vivacious and it's all good. But during those times, did you overthink? When, let's say medical professionals said, well, thinking about, we got to do this, we got to do that. Were you time after time overthinking, what happens if that doesn't work? What happens if it has a side effect? What if?
Yeah. Well, one of the worst times of my life, I had surgery and got a staph infection and cellulitis, which is the flesh-eating disease, and it's very bad. And I was on IV antibiotics, but one day it just kind of exploded, and my whole body swelled up big, bright red and hot. And I called an ambulance, and my husband came home, and we were not getting along at the time. And he said, "Okay, can you meet them in the living room? Because I'm going to sleep." And it's like, okay. So I go to the hospital, and I'm laying in the corridor for like an hour. And a doctor passes by, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to leave because I haven't talked to anyone, but I just want to be sure it's okay because I've got this big raging infection." And the doctor examined me, and she said, "Well, I can tell you that if you leave now, you will not wake up in the morning." And then a nurse came over to me, and it's about 11 p.m. And she said, "Would you like me to bring you the phone? Is there someone you want to call?" And I thought about it, and I realized there wasn't. I mean, my sisters live far away, and they had said they wouldn't be able to come down, in the middle of the night to say goodbye or something. They'd said that previously. And I wasn't going to call my husband. So I said no to the nurse. And it got me into a very bad situation. So I realized, boy, how pathetic is this? They're trying to be nice, and I don't have anybody on the planet that I want to call and say goodbye to that would appreciate it. So I really did, and I got extremely down, but then I think they knocked me out. So
wow. Well, that's not even so much overthinking. What if I don't wake up? What if this doesn't work? That's more of just somber realization. And all I'm going to say is, I got you and I understand you. And before you even finished your story, the moment you said, I'm going to be honest, I don't want to cut you off. The moment you said that you needed to go and he wasn't there, I wanted to jump in and say, you should have called me. Call me. I'll come there. It's the empath in me. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Wow. Have you ever been worried about the treatment? And you've been through a lot. That was just one major thing. But what have you overthought? Like, should I do this? What if that treatment doesn't work? What about this one? What about, have you been in those situations?
Well, I have been, but then I meditate and I ask my spirit guides what I should do. And they're always very clear on what path. And some things I address holistically, and some things I deal with traditional medicine. And, but I do a lot of research on my own. And I don't look up anything online because I found too many mistakes out there. But I mean, there are some ways in which, I've worried, am I on the right medication? Is it doing the right thing for me? And rather than get myself worked up, I call the manufacturer and tell them the side effects I'm having, tell them the benefits, the downside, and they talk to you, and it's all 100% truthful. And you don't have to worry about them trying to make a sale or anything. Wow. I mean, they're just there to help you, and it's a great source of information. So I recommend people do that.
That's a great idea that I've never thought about. And I've been in somewhat similar situations. And again, the overthinking. I have minor skin cancer, been dealing with it for decades. And I went on, I don't know if I shared, I went on a medication, somewhat experimental. And instead of doing surgeries, it's supposed to just wipe it out of you. And there were side effects. You could lose your hair. This could happen. That could happen. This could happen. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. But I was overthinking it. In the end, I don't lose any hair. I don't have any of the side effects except some muscle spasms. I'd be watching TV and my leg would go, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa, when's that going to stop? And that was it. It didn't, after like 9 months on the med, it didn't really do the job. Got rid of a little bit, but just wasn't effective for me. I bring it up because I overthought it. What if, what if, what if? I don't know if I shared with you, the laryngitis I had, acute laryngitis I was diagnosed with. It was like 15 days ago that the ENT told me I may never speak again. ENT told me that I may need therapy to learn how to talk again. It's 15 days ago. ENT told me I'm a 10. I'm a 6 on a 10 scale of severity. And if I continue pushing it, my vocal cords could hemorrhage. And he scoped me. So he was looking at him. So if that was 5 years, and I've been doing this since I was 17. This is all I know. 5 years ago, before I did the work and minimized the overthinking, I would have been freak mode. I went home. I sat down. I meditated. I was a little somber for a moment, like, wow. But then in my mind, I flipped it around. Well, maybe your voice will sound even better.
Very good.
Maybe this will be this. And if I wasted all that time thinking, it would have been a true waste of time.
It would have, and it would have brought you down because your whole career is your voice and your personality. I mean, yeah, that's how people get into funks, and then they stop.
A funk. Thank you.
Right, and then they stop trying to get better.
I think you'll attest to this holistically. This controls all of this. So potentially, if I was, in the funk, I could have delayed any kind of healing or whatever it is. And I'm fine. I feel great. A little verklempt every once in a while. I think that's just because I had a virus and a upper respiratory thing going on, first time in decades. He was wrong. I guess he was wrong.
Yes.
I don't have any other, I don't even know where he came up with that. But I'm glad I'm at the point where I don't worry about that.
That is so good, because you do know the average person probably would worry about that a lot more than you or I. And it doesn't do you any benefit. It just brings your whole mood down, your vibration down. And if you keep thinking, what if, it takes you no place positive.
I'm going to tell you, and this is going to be, I'm going to be really honest here. But after I left that office and went home, I hugged my daughter. And I didn't even say a word because I couldn't, obviously. But I didn't. She had no idea. She was kind of maybe like, just, what's up with him? I hugged her, gave her a kiss, got up, walked out of the room. And I believe that was my moment of funk, moment of sadness. And then that was it. And then I moved on.
And what a wonderful thing to do, to hug your daughter.
I just felt I needed to.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But it did the trick. I don't know. Hug your dog. Because if she wasn't around, I would have hugged him or the cats or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's better than pouring yourself a drink, because too many people do that to numb themselves, as opposed to just changing your thoughts and taking control of them. Yeah.
It's all, once you can take control of this. I used to be afraid of blood tests, grown man. I flipped it around. So now when I go for one, I'm taking care of myself. I'll learn some things. Maybe they might not be that great. So we'll go through that. But at least now I know, instead of, letting it float out there. But I flipped it around to the point now I was like, this is fun. Hey, how you doing? I have a conversation with a phlebotomist, It's all good. It's really working, getting to the point where you can control your mind and the mindset. Right. But that's where you come in, because I didn't do this alone. I talked to people like you along the way. You have an organization that uses many different modalities to help. How do we connect with you?
People can go on our website, which is katesholistichealing.com, and you can see the different healers that we have. We have a wonderful Tai Chi healer. We have two. And they can also go on the site, kateblecher.com. And there I have a number of meditations that I've recorded. There's one on overcoming depression if people are feeling very bad. Wow. And you can listen to it, and it really gives very good advice, and I've gotten very good feedback. It's what I do with my clients in my practice.
Love it. First thing that comes to mind, pause the medication, go for the meditation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but don't mess up the chemistry in your body by going off.
No, I'm talking about if you're considering and you have an option, whether to take something, whatever it might be, maybe you might want to look at a more holistic route. That's where I'm going with that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not telling you to go against what your doctor said, but meditation is more powerful than we realize. And that's why it's been done for thousands of years and we're still doing it. There's got to be a reason.
Exactly. And I mean, I know it really cured me of so many of my illnesses.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Wonderful talking with you, Kate. Appreciate your transparency on your journey and what you do to help people, and looking forward next time we get together.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.